sono molto felice di essere in questa meravigliosa città. And that's all the Italian I have for you today. Not too bad, right? Are we living in a reputation economy? Well, last week, 350 business executives from all over the world met in Milan to discuss it. So something must be going on. Our clients around the world are talking about it. They're leading a conversation talking about reputation as the #1 driver of value. If reputation is the #1 driver of value, then the things you do as a company, the way you behave, the decisions you make must be better. The past few years, across the world, we have seen the results of companies, governments, people making very bad decisions. If only they had been thinking about reputation from the beginning. Not because I like looking at myself, but I wanted to put this up there with a little bit of my background so you understand how I came to become passionate about the reputation economy. I started my career talking a lot about brands when I was at Procter & Gamble. How many of you think brand when you hear reputation? By show of hands. Brand, reputation. Very confusing words. So, my big idea to deal with the confusion that I encounter when I talk to leading marketers around the world, because I speak mostly today on behalf of communicators. Forget about those two words. No more brand, no more reputation. There's really simply two things going on. In the marketplace, there are perceptions of the things you sell, your products or services. And there are perceptions of the people and the organizations behind those products and services. Product and enterprise. Now the question all of you are facing is which matters more? You have a budget to spend. Do I spend it on managing perceptions of the product? Or do I spend it on managing perceptions of the enterprise? Let's let consumers decide. When you ask consumers to talk about the things that they care about with regards to companies, and then you perform a little magical statistical analysis, looking at purchase intent, consideration behavior, 39% of that behavior can be explained by perceptions of products and services. 61% of that behavior is explained by the perceptions of who you are as a company. The same holds true for advocacy. Now imagine yourselves chief marketing officers for the largest brand marketers in the world. Where do you spend your money? On the left or on the right? Well, let's talk to the world's largest. This is a pretty new campaign for Procter & Gamble. In 2010, in the Vancouver Olympics, they launched a program where they funded mothers of Olympic athletes to fly to the games so they could see their children perform. They continue and have expanded that program leading up to the Olympics in London in 2012. Is that a CSR strategy? Are they doing good things so that they become known as a company simply because that's nice to do? No. It's growth strategy. These are the brands that they expect to grow as a result of that campaign. As a Procter & Gamble alumni, I received an email 2 weeks ago with this text referring to the Thank You Mom campaign. They expect $500 million of additional sales from this campaign. Welcome to the reputation economy. Why is it so hard? Expectations, reality. People have given up on their governments, so they expect much more from companies, for example. But when expectations are high, disappointment results. Speaking of countries, we look at the reputations of countries around the world, and we ask the residents of each country, the citizens of the country, to rate themselves, how do they feel about their country, and to rate other countries. For most countries around the world, their citizens feel much better than the rest of the world does about their country. Places like Denmark, probably expectations are very low. It's Denmark. Whereas in Italy, expectations appear to be high. Citizens of Italy do not feel as strongly about their own country as the rest of the world does. Why are your expectations so high? Because you have so much here, so much in Italy to be proud of. There's so much great brands, products, and history that this country has. So of course expectations are very high. When you're thinking about reputation, you must navigate through a tapestry of perceptions. Countries, regions, cities, companies, brands, products. How do they connect with each other? How are they related? Very interesting question. Putting the pieces together of this puzzle is something we've been trying to do for the past few years. With a very large study of consumers that we conducted in the spring, talking to them about countries, cities, and global companies. But most of you work for companies, or at least I'll speak to that today. As a company, success relies on people supporting you, buying your products, allowing you the license to operate, investing in your stock, reporting on your point of view, delivering on your strategy. To get that support, you need to be trusted. To figure out how trusted you are, we've developed a construct called the RepTrack Pulse that captures admiration, trust, overall good feeling, overall esteem that a person holds for a company. We're capturing that emotional, that gut connection that people have when they see your company name. They see Barilla, they see Ferrero. Immediately, there's a reaction. It's at this level, it's at the heart. To get a number for that, you need to engage their brain a little bit. And these 4 ideas allow us to do so. We've done that for these 100 companies, which we call the RepTrack 100, the world's most reputable companies. To be selected for this list, you had to have an above-average reputation in your home market. We conduct that study in the beginning of the year. You have to have a multinational presence, global footprint, high familiarity in these 15 key markets around the world. And this is where the companies come from. Over the past 2 years, we've seen a cast of characters that doesn't change very much. What you're looking at here are 100 highly regarded companies measured around the world. These are the 10 strongest. However, all 100 are very, very strong. Now, this information, I must ask you, those of you who are here from the media, to sit on this information for 24 hours. Because aside from the folks who attended our conference last week in Milan, you're the first to see this. And companies like to win, they like to be on big lists. And this is the results of 2012, which will be published on Forbes.com tomorrow. Notice silence, concern, but don't worry. There are 4 Italian champions who have reputations above 70 on our 100-point scale. That is to say that these 4 companies, Ferrero, Armani, Pirelli, Barilla, have strong reputations among the average consumer across 15 markets. To do that, to sustain that across 15 countries is extraordinarily difficult. Less than 50 companies in the world have been able to do that. 50. Before them are your home country champions. How did they get there? To earn that trust, you have to deliver on expectations. We call the baby. Well, the baby's expectations have become quite sophisticated for companies. They have expectations around your products and services, innovation, how you treat your employees, governance, fairness and ethics, transparency, citizenship, leadership, and financial performance. That's the full model. 7 dimensions determine how people feel at the emotional level. It explains much of those differences and explains why companies are strong. Companies like those I just showed you are not strong on just one dimension. You cannot build a reputation just for your products. Ferrero candy is delicious, but that is not enough. Ferrero must have a story to tell, and the only way to tell that is through communications across all 7 dimensions, in particular focusing on the dimensions that matter most to your stakeholders. If you take that view of things, this information is just an example. Imagine yourself in the role of a chief communicator or a chief executive at a multinational company. Wouldn't it be nice to know what mattered most, second most, and third most to each of your most important stakeholders? It'd be nice to know. Few of our clients have this available, so when a major crisis hits, they can first answer the question, who do we need to worry about the most? And once we do that, what do we say to them? Ultimately, though, when we're talking about the reputation economy, we're looking at 3 channels of influence. People can have a direct experience with the company. They can respond to something the company says. They can respond to what others say about the company. At the forum, we're talking a lot about what others say about you, and that has become a tremendous connection point for corporate communicators. Because now what you say is not simply through press releases and the corporate website, but you can engage with people, engage in the conversation. It's a tremendous opportunity to affect perceptions. To affect perceptions, you change support. To change support, you drive the business. We've proven that when you look at changes in reputation. These other metrics, very, very familiar. Net Promoter Score, customer satisfaction, employee satisfaction, brand equity, profitability. Inside those red arrows are the correlations between the metric in the center and the 6 around the outside. I showed this to a CEO of a multinational telecom company, CEO of Telefonica in Spain. He said, all I need is the one in the middle. With correlations that high, that will give me a sense of what's going on with everything else. That's not to say it replaces, but when you manage reputation in a complex world, you need simplicity. And communicators must bring that simplicity to their CEOs, to their boards of directors. And the good news is you don't have to sell reputation. 96% of the chief executive officers, chief communications officers, and chief marketing officers of the largest companies in the world. We conducted a survey of the 300, the senior executives of the 300 largest companies in the world. They all agree, pretty much, that we are living a reputation economy. But less than half say they are prepared to take advantage of this. So if people really care more about your company than they care about your products, what does that change about what you do every day? Exporting reputation is extraordinarily challenging. That's why so few companies have strong reputations around the world. And reputation, as we know, has a huge effect on people's willingness to support you. 41% lower willingness to recommend companies in foreign markets. So we talk a lot about reputation ecosystems, and as I wrap up today, think about the complex ecosystem in which you operate. What are the challenges in front of you? 51% of these senior leaders say they have no structured process for managing or thinking about reputation. 37% say that they are not leveraging existing knowledge in the organization about their stakeholders. Lots of information, none of it useful, none of it simple enough to use. 35% say there's no alignment across departments. One of the main challenges for communicators, and I understand many of you are communicators, is that you know, because you understand reputation, you know it's not something you alone can be responsible for. It is the responsibility of the entire organization. So how do you get human resources, operations, finance, sales, marketing to support the strategy that you drive? That is the challenge. Sometimes this is what it feels like. Tilting at the windmills. Cervantes had a nap. The good news, we can help. Introducing Reputation Institute Italy. Michele Sorotes, Roberta Bianco Roberta is here with me today. We opened ourselves a few months ago in Milan and really introduced ourselves last week. But we already have things going on here in Italy and welcome you to join the conversation here. And lastly, I'll leave you with this. Every company we've talked to, every one of those senior leaders from the companies that we talk to around the world, they're on a reputation journey. Starting with exploration, then linking to business metrics. From there, to reputation business planning, to a systematic approach where it's built into the way the company plans and makes decisions, and ultimately, full integration into everything the company does. Grazie.
Or managing director or somebody else. This is a very sensitive position. There is also the issue of local reputation becoming an international issue or vice versa. International reputation which has some impact on local markets. This is extremely a key factor for multinationals because some problems on the local area can become a very large issue on the international market, on the international arena. And we have seen that so far the main ingredients are the same: products, employees, and reputation. Since globalization and globalization-related issues are extremely important, I would like to start with Mr. Vicky, who is head of media relations Italy and executive communications of UniCredit, a company, a bank, an international company in a very difficult sector, not just right now and not just in Italy. On New York Times we had a very interesting article on why people hate banks. Of course, this dealt with social psychology, and the article tried to understand, was explaining that it is difficult for a bank to establish a trust relationship with its customers. UniCredit, the most globalized, most internationalized Italian bank, how does it deal with the reputation from a pragmatic point of view? I know you use very specific methods for this. Please let us know. Yes, we have a microphone. Please, take it. Good morning to you all. First of all, I would like to make my own remark. I don't think that banks have ever been very friendly, institutions from, let's say, the people's point of view. Of course, they manage our money. This money has to be managed properly, but the relationship, the customer-bank relationship only now enters a more mature stage. Why am I saying this? Because I think that if we assess previous historic stages so far, and I would like to make a short digression. Today we have in Italy the only bank which is representing Italy all over the world, i.e. UniCredit. In Spain it's Santander, which is a matter of
C'era qualcuno che parlava della banca e parlare inglese sembrava quasi avere una specie di morbo addosso, insomma, quindi questo è un paese anche un po' strano, diciamo, no?
So this is a peculiar country, but today having a bank which sometimes is helping companies going abroad, because we helped 60,000 businesses becoming international. So the present crisis, the current crisis, is a systemic crisis where the financial system is again at the center of attention. All this started with Lehman, with virtual finance, and then it fell back on issues having to do with the sovereign debt and debt securities. So this is a part of a system which probably needs to focus on real economy. Italian banks, from this point of view, suffered a lot more than others because probably they were able to manage themselves at the moment.